J Street is a relatively young Jewish organization in Washington. It was launched with the blessing of the Obama administration just 5 years ago. U.S. Vice President Joe Biden was the keynote speaker at their annual conference, addressing a laundry list of Middle East issues, from the Israeli and Palestinian talks to Syria. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry continues to maintain silence on the talks he is shepherding between the Israelis and Palestinians. U.S. Vice President Joe Biden is trying to convince Jewish Americans that silence should not mean bad news.
That's why it's important that we use our good offices to bring both sides together as we have toward a two-state solution for two peoples. Israel as a secure Jewish state and a homeland for the Jewish people worldwide, and the state of Palestine as a homeland for the Palestinian people. Each state enjoying security, self-determination, and mutual recognition. I've been in the region like you many, many times. I remain absolutely convinced that that desire of the vast majority of Israelis and the vast majority of Palestinians.
J Street Conference participants are broadly supportive of the Obama administration's approach during a time of complex change in the Middle East.
I think he probably has the right approach in that he recognizes that the Middle East is not just pieces in a puzzle, it's a whole thing, and that he's got to deal with the Middle East as a whole, and he's got to deal with the pieces, of course, as they come up.
I think there are a lot of troubles up ahead, but I think I'm more optimistic about the way President Obama and Joe Biden are handling the issues, not having an overall strategy, but kind of taking each conflict specifically and focusing attention on that and getting a global cooperation on those issues.
I feel very hopeful also. I've been watching these issues for like 40 years, and I feel like it does seem like if someone like him, who's so knowledgeable and been there so much and in such a position of power, sees that, I believe him, and I think it's kind of a historic moment.
But J Street, the organization, has not uniformly supported the Obama administration's agenda for the Middle East. Internal divisions were recently evident over the call to authorize military strikes against Syria. Syria was one of the issues discussed during a White House meeting between President Obama and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, with the administration emphasizing the diplomatic course.
That's not new. What is new is that there are now serious efforts underway to solve several of the most important challenges that exist. The removal and destruction of Syria's chemical weapons, advancing a political solution to a sectarian civil war, supporting independent democracies, a unified Iraq, Sunni, Shia, and Kurd, preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon, and helping Israeli and Palestinians finally find peace. That is what we're about.
J Street's primary mission is to lobby the U.S. Congress for a two-state solution, a goal they emphasize endorsed by the majority of Jewish Americans. J Street has announced the twocampaign.org. It is an online petition to promote two states, Israelis and Palestinians living side by side. It is aimed at U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, advocating for bold leadership to achieve the compromises necessary on settlements, borders, and Jerusalem. I'm Priscilla Huff for JN1 in Washington.